William Shakespeare. Not really a big subject for me, but it's the subject of this episode nonetheless. When a new hot male substitute teacher arrives, he takes all the girls away. So Zack, Slater, and Screech have to find a way to get rid of him. For good. That's right, they kill the guy. I'm just kidding. They don't do that. No. This is more 80s, late 80s sitcom-ish than anything else. But yes, so we start with a weird intro where Zack just kind of walks into frame from outside. Let me show you what I mean. So we start with a shot of the classroom like this, right? Classroom's like that. And then Zack comes from around the corner and is like, Shakespeare. He just starts talking about the other side. Like, what a weird, it's such a weird introduction how he just comes around the corner and just, interesting. It's always the same classroom. Always, no matter what. They might change which direction it is to make it look like a different classroom, but it's always the same classroom. And we are introduced for the first time to the wonderful Miss Simpson. Yes. Her running gag is that she has a hearing problem. Yes. So the bell rings, she turns around, and she goes, well, I guess the bell is never going to ring, so we'll just get started. Get it? Because she's deaf. And then she says, Romeo and Juliet was written by who class? Everyone yells, William Shakespeare. She doesn't hear them, so she yells, oh! or was it, how dare you class, or something like that. William Shakespeare. So she brings the class up to do, members of the classroom to do different scenes. So Lisa comes up, and she's like, now who will play Romeo? And Lisa says, anyone but Screech. And the teacher, of course, not hearing right, goes, what a great idea. Come on, Screech. So, yeah, he starts out like he's saying it, but he's like, he starts changing it, and then she has to grab the ruler or something to stop him. And Miss Simpson's like, that was great, but the sword fighting scene doesn't come till later. Next, we need the balcony scene, and Kelly is selected. Or no, balcony scene, and who's going to play Romeo? Slater is suggested to play, but then Zack makes fun of him. So he's like, you know what? Makes fun of him and says that what if the football team or the wrestling team sees this? And he's like, you know what? No, thank you. And then so then Zack volunteers, and then tricks Kelly into jumping up so that she, pretends to volunteer. And then I do like this gag where Slater's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I'll do it, Miss Simpson. And she's like, well, it's too bad we ought to have a Juliet. Can you imagine Zack and Slater doing Romeo and Juliet together? And Zack nails this. I mean, he nails this. He is great. And then Kelly so much that Kelly accidentally drops her book, and Miss Simpson goes to bend it down. And I've been there, being a heavy person. My back is not always the best, but I haven't been able to not get back up. I've squatted down and then not be able to push my weight back up. I had to use something or have my son help me back up because my weight, I can't lift my own weight. I'm too fat and too weak. So it's sometimes, oh, poor you. It doesn't happen all the time. It just sometimes. That's why I don't squat as much. I do the one knee down, and I can push myself back up with my hands, Mostly my left knee. But I squatted 5 times on my left knee. Like Rey Mysterio, on my left knee. Put my left knee down, do something, and then I think it's my left knee. Hold on, let me try. Is this it? It feels right. Let me try. Nope, it's the left knee because I doesn't feel right going down on the right knee. So I go on my left knee. It's easier to push back up. You see how easy that was? If I was to squat though, see, I had to use the table. Squatting's impractical anyway. So anyway, even to get down on both knees, which I would never do. No, she throws her back out. Apparently it's from a hockey injury. Okay, because she's old. Just hockey injury. So their idea is to put her on a skateboard and roll her out to the hallway. And by the way, it's just the main cast members that do this. No extras needed here. Mr. Belding shows up, and I believe we get our first hey, what is going on here? Of the show. As he sees what's going on, and they say, another deaf thing. Did you throw your back out again? No, I threw my back out again. So everyone's putting stuff. Here's your papers, Miss Simpson, and your briefcase, or jacket, briefcase, whatever. And then it's like, oh, if you go into the nurse's office, which will not be in that direction. They go, okay, hallway scene again. They're taking Miss Simpson from here down, and they take her to the nurse, which they say is that way. But in an earlier episode, and later on, the nurse is that way. So, because there was an episode where someone asked where the nurse was, and Zach and Screech pointed different directions, with Zach pointing that way and Screech pointing that way. So he goes this way. That person goes that way. So he said, we talk about the nurse's office, it's that way. So it's yonder. Yet they're going that way. It's taking a long way around, I guess. By the way, at some point, I don't know if it's in this series or the new class, we do see lockers from the other side. Eventually. That might be in the new class, though. New class. Anyway, so goes to the nurse's office, and then a new substitute is brought in, Tony Crane, who is supposed to be a handsome guy. He's alright, like, I'm not into that stuff, but he's got the coiffed hair and the shiny teeth and stop it. No shiny teeth. And of course he woos the girls. They fall in love with him. And so all the other guys in school, they just don't want anything to do with him. Oh. Yeah. The girls are so obsessed. Okay, so it's a little bit sketchy. Okay, because, like, the girls become obsessed with him. But he clearly knows there's something. Because, like, first of all, when they're introducing each other, he's like, I'm Tony Crane. And like, because, like, I'm yours. He doesn't say anything. And then they're all swooning over him, and then they're at the max. And the girls are, like, staring at him. He goes, would you want to sit down with me? They're 15, Tony. You're an adult. You're a grown-ass man. They're 15. And this isn't the case of 20-year-olds playing 15. They were actually 15. At least they're close to that age. So, no. But they do. And so there's a lot of moments where you can notice people are breaking. I don't point them out because there's a lot of them I don't always remember. But this is one you got to look out for. Okay? So they go to sit down. Kelly sits on one side. Lisa on the other. And then Jessie sits on her lap. But then goes to get up to get another chair. She knocks over and breaks something where the glass shatters when she goes to grab another chair. To push someone out and grab another chair. If you pay attention, you can see Tiffany Amber Thiessen breaking up in the background. Because she actually broke it. And they kept that in the episode. Which makes me think, one of two things. One, they didn't know the hell they were doing. Or two, they didn't have enough money to reshoot certain scenes. And that's kind of obvious, at least in the first season, when sometimes it's not always the best take. But they keep going with it. Yeah. So the guys realize they have to do something, right? So the girls have a fantasy where they're all going to marry Tony Crane. But he says, I can't marry you, I'm just a substitute teacher, and then throws in Screech. I did want to point out that all these fantasies end up with Screech being in there some way, shape, or form. Like Screech was like a sheik in one of their fantasies. He was a picture in another one, and he's here now. But they weren't all his fantasies, her fantasies. But still, it's I don't know. Screech always ends up there, and it's not the last time either. We'll see more. We'll see more. But excuse me. So they've hired an actress to pretend to be Tony's fiance. And so the bell's about to ring, people are going to come out, and they have to do it so that they can dissuade the girls from dating Tony Crane. Okay, I don't think I need to point out that this plan is already disastrous from the get-go. To have some strange woman come into a school. But I think, like, their plan as to how they're going to tell her who he is is to him be the first one to say hello to. So it's Mr. Belding is the first person to say hello to. Here's the thing. Hallway again. They're going this way. Mr. Belding passes them this way. And then he says, the Screech goes, hello, real loud. She sees that and goes towards him. Tony then comes from here. So if the guys were planning to set this up, they went this way, and Tony's going this way, they would not have even met each other. Who directed this scene? I need to know, because it makes no sense. Again, point it out. Belding this way, guys this way, Tony this way. They are essentially leaving the hallway. They would, if Belding didn't come by, if Belding was not there, they would be leaving the hallway as Tony is going this way. They would not see each other. Also, we got to keep this up because once they realize they fucked up, they hide in their lockers, which now have numbers on them. Despite that they've never had numbers before this episode. And even as early on in this episode, there were no numbers. I had to go rewind and check it out. I'm like, wait a minute, there's numbers. I don't remember numbers before. There weren't, even in the same episode. Just so I can have a joke of, with the occupants of lockers 140, 142, and 144, please come out. Also, how the hell did they get in the lockers? Zach's locker is over here. So how was he able to get in over here? Zach's is over here, Screech's is also over here, I think. Or I think his is over here, I don't know. They just, people have locks on their lockers. That's why it's called a locker. But yeah, so after this mix-up, Tony talks to them, and they explain that they don't like the fact that the girls are swooning over him, and he says, well, I never meant to do anything. Yeah, but you clearly knew something was going on, dude. You clearly knew they were swooning over you because you wouldn't be all smiley and, hey, you want to sit with me? You clearly knew there was something. You're trying to go as close as you can without going over that, that line. You know what I mean? Something was going on. I should also mention that the actress gives Tony her card. That's a plot point. So then we cut back to the Max. And so the girls are like, oh, we're meeting Tony Crane here, and then each of them think he's going to propose to them or something. They're 15. What is wrong with them? I know teenagers, they dream about older people, but for them to actually think he's going to propose, yes, I cracked. Then the guys show up and say that Tony Crane asked them to meet him there. So they sit at a different table. Then Tony shows up with his fiancée, who is the actress from earlier. Yeah. By the way, I need to go back to this hallroom scene. I don't think we need to really go into it, but think about all who I said was there. Mr. Belding, the three guys, Tony Crane, a bunch of other students. Who wasn't there? Lisa, Jesse, and Kelly. So how was this plan going to work? Were they going to try to pull this off and hope that other female students would tell the girls? The girls were not even there. And why weren't they there? Because then this wouldn't work. If they were there and it failed, they would realize that the guys were up to something, and that can't happen. So they can't be in the scene. But then that still makes this whole thing incredibly pointless. Unless they were hoping on the power of hearsay and words to help them out. And now we're back to this scene where we have the actress back. So Tony introduces her as his fiance. They're getting married. Screech blurts out, "What a coincidence! There really was his fiance." Gets hit. And then, the guys go back to them. And Screech goes, "Oh, hold on, Max. Lisa, what can I get you?" She goes, "Lost." "All right, it's back to normal. I like to get lost." I like that. And then the episode ends. Here's the thing, though. This would also not work. Again, going back to what I said about the hearsay, plenty of students were there and saw her swooning over Mr. Belding. And the reveal that she is an actress. So, she goes into this, right? They go in there, they try to deceive the girls. If the hearsay works, they're going to go back and tell all these other girls what happened. Oh, he's engaged, he's got a fiance. She's really gorgeous. And when I start to explain what she looks like, they'll be like, "Oh no, that was the woman that was going after Mr. Belding. She's just an actress." So I don't know. Also want to point out that the whole thing about Mr. Crane, why didn't they show her a picture of him? Because we gotta have hijinks. It's just kind of good. But overall, it's not bad, but it's not one that I like to go back to. Again, like I said about the one earlier, if I wasn't doing this, I probably not one I go back to review. But yeah, so what are your thoughts on this episode? Let me know comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.